good time. And then finally, coming up just beyond that, real big day in Woodhaven, last couple of years. And to talk about that, I'm going to bring on the brain trust behind this, the inventor of the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale, and that is a director on the Woodhaven Residents Block Association, former president, good friend, always in the chat room, Mr. Vance Barbour. Vance,
hey,
of the original Woodhaven Barbour.
This is correct, Calvin T. Barbour.
So there you go. So we're about less than a month away from the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale.
Yeah.
So how's that registration looking?
Like every time we do this, everyone realizes at the last minute that it's time to register. So we tend to get a rush later, but we actually have gotten good responses so far. The people who love this stuff really love it, and people in the neighborhood always have yard sales, and they usually make a few dollars. But when we have this thing, you hear stories left and right of people making hundreds of dollars when we have this, because people come from all over Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And just for your information, the Mets just won 9-4.
All right.
Familia closed the door. All right, so what happens is people come from all over Queens. We've even had people come from New Jersey, Staten Island. You know, it really draws people. And we thank the local press for covering this, too, because they do put a good word out, and we share it with all of the people on Facebook and stuff like that. So we suggest people to register sooner rather than later, because what we will be doing is we will be getting out to the local press our map. Mm-hmm. And the map has lists of locations where people are going to be participating in the yard sale. Now, these aren't going to be actual addresses because we want to keep that stuff private, but we will have a map with pins on it, as we've had in the last 3 years, and it will show where people can go. And literally, you see people driving up holding maps, pulling into hydrants and to driveways, because we went out taking pictures last year, and they're looking at this map. So if people register sooner rather than later, when we get these maps out to the press, if they print them, and we've had some luck with that, printing them, people who read the local papers will see the map and the locations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get in, I'd say register sooner rather than later. And you asked how they would register? Is that what I thought I heard you say?
Yeah, that was exactly what you thought I was going to say, yes.
People should send an email notifying me of their name and their address, which we will keep private, and, of course, we'll have their email address, to the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale @gmail.com.
There you go.
Again, that's the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale @gmail.com. What we will do is we will communicate to the larger audience, and I will correspond with the folks who actually have signed up, but we will communicate to the larger audience. We have 2 Facebook pages that they can check in on. We have a Facebook page, the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale, which will basically be communicating to people. But we also have, and thanks for your setting this up, Woodhaven Yard Sales and Selling Posts, which, if they have a certain item that they would like to publicize, and I know one year we had some battery tester thingy, and in fact I got a good picture of you looking at it.
Uh-huh.
And if people see this ahead of time, they will go directly to you if you want them to, if you want to put your address there. So in the Woodhaven Yard and Selling Posts on Facebook, they could actually put items that they're going to have for sale. Otherwise, we'll just communicate generally through the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale Facebook page. So sign up now, sign up soon. The more we have, the better. We will constantly communicate the amount of people we have over the next month. In fact, it is about a month away, so
yeah.
It's amazing how quickly it comes around.
And this year, a little breaking news here, that the Leader Observer has agreed to publish our map So we're guaranteed in the leader.
Wow.
And we've got to get everyone who registers by the 12th of September will get in the issue the week before, giving people plenty of notice. And this is the paper that is given away free all over Woodhaven. It's in the senior centers, it's in the restaurants, it's in the banks. It gets delivered to a lot of homes in Woodhaven. So, if you register by the 12th, you're going to be seen by a lot of people here in the neighborhood, and who are going to come out.
Yeah, they'll do a great job. I'm 100% sure, because they have great columnists too. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll take that as a compliment, because we both are great.
So, but again, it's better to get sooner than later, and I can't stress how people really go, if you will, apeshits over this. They come from all over, and these are people who really love yard sales, and these are people who just happen to be strolling through the neighborhood. We've been blessed with good weather for the last 3 years that we've had it consecutively, and it's really a great time. Last year, literally, while Chris stayed and minded the fort, I went around to a good portion of the people who were listed on the map, and I think we had something like 65 families listed on the map, including people who didn't sign up, who put stuff out. And I took pictures. People who were having these yard sales were having a blast. People were rummaging through their stuff. And just looking back at the pictures we took last year, you saw all of the neat stuff that people had. It's amazing. You think, oh, well, I have some great stuff. But then you see what other people have, and you go, holy smoke, this is ridiculous. This is great.
I tell you, I had a great time going around the last couple of years, and I've gotten some good stuff.
Yeah.
I got at one place I went, I walked home with a 1912 liter Observer.
Wow.
That someone had in their basement. Got it for $1.
Oh, wow.
For $1. The things that people were putting out were phenomenal. I'm always on the lookout for odd and unusual items. I picked up a box full of 1940s and 50s pulp magazines.
Wow.
Science fiction, crime, everything. And I tell you something, I would have picked it up just on the basis of the covers alone.
Right, exactly.
The covers are great artwork, and I'd love to frame them and hang them up. And I tell you the truth, I've often thought that if I framed them and I brought them to the street fair or something, I think I'd sell some, because they're really some interesting and I tell you, quite often some very politically incorrect covers. But the thing is, people would enjoy having some of these hanging in their homes. Just little things like that you see that people will put out. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, it's true, and like you said, this stuff is art. These are collectibles, and that's the great thing. You have people coming into the community who are looking for something that no one else knows about, that it may be a gem to them, or it'll complete their collection. Flintstone's grape jelly glasses or something like that.
Yeah.
There is a definite frenzy about this. It's amazing. There's a frenzy to it. So I look forward to doing it every year. I know the board looks forward to doing it, and I know the community looks forward to it. In fact, usually we start getting bugged shortly after it ends. When's the next one going to be? When's the next one going to be? And the good thing about it is that stuff that you don't have, that you haven't sold, the next day is Mike Miller and Joe Adabo's recycling event.
Right.
And that is not by coincidence. We do this purposely. And you can take some of the stuff and donate it there, or I know because they were collecting books and stuff like that, and clothing, and you could recycle the stuff that would normally go into the landfill. So I think it works all around.
Now this year, our historical society is taking advantage of our cemetery space, So for those of you out there that don't have, if it's not a great position for you to put something out in front of your house, maybe you don't want to be in front of your house. Maybe you don't live in the neighborhood. Maybe you're just across the border in Ozone Park or Richmond Hill or Cypress Hills or up in Glendale, and you'd like to participate in this and get on the map. The Historical Society, we're going to be opening up our cemetery.
Wow, that's
and,
great.
So folks can come in, and you can either bring your own table, or probably easier than bringing a table, just bring a blanket, and you can put your stuff on the blanket, as long as it fits on one blanket, and it's $10 per blanket or $10 per table, and put your stuff out. And the only rule there is you take that stuff with you.
Yeah.
You don't leave that behind for me. Yeah. So this way, and all proceeds there will go to the upkeep of the cemetery, and that'll be a big flag on the map. Hopefully, we'll get 10, 12 families there. So if you come to the cemetery, you'll be able to walk around and see some good stuff.
And that's a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that. And get me the information, because I'll communicate that to our existing list. And our existing list, I'll have you know, has about 200 families on it. Sometimes they can't do it because they're out of town or something like that. So we constantly communicate with everyone. But that's important, because I've been asked in the future. I mean, I've been asked in the past, why don't we have this at like the schoolyard at Pier 60 so I can set up there? So this is the perfect opportunity, and hopefully this is the start of us doing this regularly, to have a centralized location for people who don't want to set up in the front of their house. And it could very well be, and some people are just on the perimeter of the neighborhood. And I know with trick-or-treaters, we hardly get any, because we're between Atlantic Avenue and 91st. So when they go up and down the blocks, they turn on 91st Avenue and then go up the next block. So people don't come down the street. So for people on the periphery, they could set up at the cemetery, and that's a great centralized place. And if people know about it, it'll bring a lot more people to that place.
Now, one last thing we want to tell people out there, because we'll YouTube this and put this out there, because we want people to learn about it and come out and participate, not only as customers, but we also need people to have yard sales. Is to talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends on your block, and encourage them to do it as well. Because if you have a cluster of red dots or flags on a map that are, face it, think about how if you came to a neighborhood and you were looking on a map and you looked on a block and you saw 4 or 5 on one block, you're going to go there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are going to go there. And like Vance was saying earlier, we've heard from people who have been, the last couple of years, have done very, very well, been very successful, and made some good money at it. And, when you talked before about it being like a party, I can tell you, a lot of times people, when they have these yard sales, just like regular yard sales, a lot of times they're just sitting there bored all day long. We're just waiting for people to come by, And how do they advertise it? They got to go do something illegal, like by sticking signs up on poles and stuff. Yeah. So they got to risk getting a fine from sanitation, and they get very few customers. Here, we're actually doing the work for you. We are bringing the customers to you.
Exactly. And what I will do is, if you contact me and you're going to participate, I will email you, I'll email everyone, copies of a flyer that if they wanted to print it out on their home printer, they could put it in the mailbox. Oh, no, sir, you can't do that. Put it in the doors of the people on your block to encourage them to join. And like you said, the more dots on a street, the more likely you're going to generate traffic down that street. It's just the rules of nature, People want to go where there's more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, it's just a month away,
yeah,
so we will keep our fingers crossed for some good weather and lots of yard sales.
Excellent.
All right, my friend.
All right, thanks for taking the call, Ed.
Thanks, bro.
Okay,
talk soon. And that's Vance Barbour of the Woodhaven Residents Block Association, talking about the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale, September 24th. So definitely get in touch. Great Woodhaven Yard Sale at gmail.com, the Great Woodhaven Yard Sale at gmail.com, and we will, get you in. And failing that, if you can't remember that, just email the Woodhaven Residents Block Association or hit us up through the page, through the Facebook page or through one of the pages. We will get it on there. One way or the other, we will get it on there. And remember, get it in by the 12th. That's not too far away. That's only like 17 days away. Register by the 12th so we can get it on the map in the Leader Observer. All right. So